Hey guys, good evening to you. All right, my colleagues and I we went and we watched the Bob Marley's movie at Carib. All right, I'm going to give you my review and I'm going to do it in two halves because you would have the first half and then the intermission and then the second half. So let's grade it out of 10. For the first half, I would give it 6 out of 10. Why? It started out with Bob Marley being young, and it seemed a bit flung. How do I put it? Very choppy, all over the place. I wouldn't want to use the word messy, but it just seemed disjointed for me. I didn't see the connection. I couldn't feel it. And it felt a little bit heavy, like a sort of a musical. With musicals, like you have the acting, the only thing that would be missing is a dancing, so to speak. Like when I'm watching movies, personally speaking, I mean, as a singer, I love my music. If I'm watching, I'm not necessarily, maybe it's me. I'm not necessarily how do I put it? Like fan of musicals in that sense, in a movie fashion. I probably would have to go to and watch a live musical as opposed to like when I go to a theater, I'm thinking of movie. I know that if they're talking about the life of the individual, they have to show snippets of them performing and so on. I don't know how to explain it to you, but it felt a little. Yeah, that is my perspective on it. It felt like I couldn't get it. I couldn't connect with it. Slightly lackluster and so on. uh the fellow he was good. I mean, obviously what I liked, whoever directed him, they didn't give him like a long discourse, like have a long conversation. Like it was very, like he said something, then it stopped, then he said something, it stopped, then it moved into other scenes. So they didn't have him talking like like a having a deep and a long conversation, because you could hear, the accent. Like sometimes he would say the things and he will try and get it as close as possible to the Jamaican accent. Then you can hear the difference. The good thing what they did was to allow some of the others who spoke Jamaican. I can tell that some are Jamaicans, but they kind of made their accent mirror this one, mirror this guy, so that it didn't seem like he seemed alone. All right. So the first part, I would give it 6 out of 10. Like there are moments, like the shooting incident, like it had you on a high. Although you wondered how he got shot and just walked in very full and strong in the hospital when his wife was shot and whatnot. Um, I would have wanted other aspects of his life to come out, because since some of us Jamaicans have a knowledge of the realities of his life, maybe they didn't want that. I suppose the director didn't necessarily want to do that. I guess they wanted to focus on a side to Bob Marley that maybe Jamaicans may not necessarily have had focused on. But it was a little bit flung or choppy, or I don't know how to put it to you. You know, I would have wanted them to watch, like for example, Little Richie, how Little Richie's movie was, or Ray Charles, or one of these people, to show them when they were little for a moment, spend some time with them being little, and then after a while they get big, so you can connect with it a little bit more. As opposed to you see a little snippet of him being, and then suddenly he gets big. It's like he's showing a sort of nostalgic moment, like he's thinking about when he was. And I said, okay. And he's a good actor, though. He is a good actor. I will give him that. He's a good actor. I mean, he is one of the few non-Jamaicans who have come a much, much close to our accent, in comparison to many other people who will try to sound Jamaican, end up sounding like Caribbean more. When I say Caribbean, from one of the other Caribbean islands and so on. You could hear, like when if he, apart from say, Wagwan and, these little jargons, when he's going into a conversation, you can hear he has to break it up, chop it, so that it because you can hear it kind of venturing off into a different Caribbean sound. If you listen keenly, us as authentic Jamaicans will know that, And as I said, the supporting actors, what they didn't sound too heavy Jamaican, so that it didn't make him look disingenuous, if you understand what I mean. Disingenuous in terms of his accent, not in terms of, he acted well outside of that. Had that guy been a Jamaican, oh my goodness gracious, a force to be reckoned with. But he's a good actor. The second half, I would give it 8 out of 10. I thought, especially the woman who played Rita Marley, she did a very good job in showing loyalty, in showing commitment, in showing devotion, while showing, unearthing their own uglies. Both, unfortunately, were infidels. She, had, she had her extramarital affair, had a child or two, or I don't remember how many they said in that. And he, and I guess the two of them really loved each other. They stood by each other. I guess it just how I guess what he was trying to portray in it is that it's almost like he's saying, boy, you see what we're doing, we have to get our family out of this. And things just happen. And remember, she had gone because of the whole, because of him, she had gotten shot, and he didn't want to jeopardize his family's lives. So they went to went to the United States for a while. Then he had to go to England. Then they met. They joined together. They met up again together in England for a while before he came back to Jamaica. And so on. And it surrounded his. He had an injury on his toe, and they said he had skin cancer. The situation. He never wanted to cut off his toe, I'm told, and so on. But I loved how they showed that sort of loyalty and devotion from his wife. We get to see that perspective of the loyalty and devotion from his wife. I can understand how I'm smiling. I probably can understand how Miss Breakspear feels, because there was a section he was talking with his wife in the phone booth, and you saw I think like she's waiting on him on the outside. The way how she's waiting, it gives a very like a lady of the night look. And again, I said, boy, would you kind of live a certain life that I would call a high risk life, a life that backlash can come like that in a drop of a hat. You just kind of have to be prepared for that. Unfortunately, that is why I don't encourage certain lifestyles, because these are the consequences that can be bred, or will be bred, and you end up getting the bad end of the stick, and so on. But I loved how I saw that love story between Bob Marley and his wife. That even though they had their sort of a separation, the movie kind of alluded to that. Like, she always come to the house. Obviously she must have lived somewhere else. She always comes to the house, but she said, Bob, I care about you. I loved you from you had one shirt, and so on. And he got jealous when he saw her talking to a man, and I said, boy, look at that man. But she still stood by him. She stood by him, irrespective of everything, and did her best to help him as best as she could. Bob was a man that what I loved about him also, he really was not moved by material things. He really was not moved. And maybe that is why it came to him, money and everything. I remember one day I was listening to the late, great, and very gifted, feisty Dick Gregory that said he offered him $40,000. And he said Bob turned him down. I mean, 40,000 like today would be like, it's way back in his time, obviously before he died in, maybe in the late 70s or thereabout, or early 70s. And he said he turned him down. He wasn't moved by the money. Because Dick Gregory said this man is a fantastic man. And he said Bob turned him down, I said, sure. I don't know why he said he had turned him down, but he turned him down. And so on. So Bob was not a materialistic man. He really was a revolutionist. And if what they portrayed was true about him in that way, for me, if he gets the hero being commissioned as a hero, or whatever the word is, I would be okay with that. He really was for the people. He really was people oriented. So when that second half came on, I could give that 8 out of 10. I think it's because the whole things were pieced together why, it didn't get a high. And then again, the accent, and it's just how they move from scene to scene and so on. But it's a movie that can be watched, He's a good actor in and of himself. Yeah, man, you can watch the movie, guys. You can Guys, follow me on TikTok. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please share this message. Thank you.